and welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, let's take a look at every Premier League club and find what current player has scored the most famous goal. Arsenal, David Luiz versus Colombia 2014. Yeah, without a doubt, the most famous goal scored by an Arsenal player in this one, quarter-final of the 2014 World Cup. The host Brazil are coming up against an informed Colombia with arguably the player of the tournament, James Rodriguez. Considering the Brazilians had just squeaked through penalties against Chile in the previous round, this was a tough game. Then David Luiz, fresh from that £50 million move to PSG, steps up to spank home a 30-yard free kick to put them 2-0 up and essentially book them a semi-final meeting with Germany. Considering the Germans then essentially turned their defence into wet soggy porridge, serving up a royal embarrassment on their own goddamn turf, Luiz will probably wish he just scuffed that free kick into Rosette. At least then it might have preserved him a little bit of dignity. Nobody remembers bad free kicks. They definitely remember you contributing to a 7-1 defeat, stumbling around the pitch like a drunken pig. Aston Villa, John McGinn versus Derby County 2019. To be honest, there aren't many famous goal scorers stuffed in this Aston Villa squad. I suppose scoring the winner in a championship playoff final, a game worth about 30 billion quid, that's pretty damn important, I suppose. Had John McGinn not scored in a 2-1 Wembley win against Derby County last May, then Frank Lampard would have had a bit of a tough decision to make. Instead of just swapping the championship for Champions League, he'd instead have been forced to walk out of Derby County about 20 minutes after securing promotion. For his own sake, he's probably delighted that McGinn made his life a bit easier. Bournemouth, Dan Gosling versus Liverpool 2009. Yeah, this was the goal nobody really saw. It's not often Everton beat Liverpool in any capacity, but go back to February 2009. It's gone to extra time in the epic of 4th round replay at Goodison Park. And then 19-year-old Dan Gosling latches onto a loose ball, twists in the box before firing a 118th minute winner past Pepe Reina. It's just millions of fans worldwide didn't get to see it, with ITV accidentally showing adverts during the coverage when this happened. Yeah, you wait nearly 2 hours to see a bastard goal, and then some work experienced kid accidentally presses the wrong button. Christ above. Brighton, Aramoy versus Newcastle 2017. You know what, I'm gonna go back to August 2017 for this one. Huddersfield Town welcome Newcastle for the Terriers' first ever Premier League game. And then former Man City man Aaron Moy smashes home the only goal of the game in the 50th minute to not only give Huddersfield their first home win in the Premier League, but to actually put them joint top of the league with Man United. Mental. Burnley, Robbie Brady versus Italy 2016. Oh lads, this was a goal I will never forget. Arguably the greatest moment in sport, for me anyway. It's June 2016 and the Republic of Ireland are desperately chasing a win against the second string Italian side. Martin O'Neill's men, they know we needed all 3 points to get us out of the group and into the last 16 for a match against France. The clock is ticking down, it's 0-0, Italy hit the goddamn post, I'm nearly crying into my pint of milk. And then 85th minute, Wes Hoolan curls in a deliciously inviting cross, Robbie Brady leaps like a beautiful salmon, bang, 1-0 into the last 16. Lads, when this goal went in, I almost smashed the pub table in two. Absolute scenes and an iconic goal for every living Irishman. Chelsea, Olivier Giroud versus Crystal Palace 2017. And a good goal for Pedro's goal in the 2011 Champions League final. But let's be honest lads, that's probably the least memorable goal from that game. Reece James bagged a memorable equalizer in the 4-4 home draw with Ajax this season. But no, if we're talking on a worldwide stage, Olivier Giroud's scorpion kick for Arsenal against Crystal Palace was the talk of the globe. For Christ's sake, it ended up winning the Puskas Award. The lad was even celebrating his next goal by just reminding everyone of that scorpion kick he did last week. Quite embarrassing considering that was a last minute equalizer against Bournemouth. You just know Giroud has his photo framed above his bed. Crystal Palace, Gary Cahill versus Birmingham 2006. Famous goals from a Crystal Palace player. I'll be honest lads, there aren't too many. Had Connor Wickham not been punted out on loan, then he'd be a shoo-in for those goals at the Etihad in Sunderland's Great Escape. But now he's gone, so how about April 2006, when a 20-year-old Gary Cahill lashed in a stunning bicycle kick for Aston Villa in a 3-1 derby win over Birmingham City. Yeah, first senior goal in only his second game for Villa, and yet they still ended up selling this future Champions League and Premier League winning captain to Bolton. Considering they had Kurt Davies and Zat Knight in their defence, this was mental. Everton, Theo Walcott versus Croatia 2008. Let's see, famous goals from an Everton player. I considered Yerry Mina's last minute bullet header for Colombia against England in the 2018 World Cup, but no. Instead, let's go back to September 2008. This was a revenge mission for England, travelling to Croatia, the country who deprived them of the Euro 2008 tournament in the summer. This was the first meeting between the countries less than a year later, in a World Cup 2010 qualifying match, and the Three Lions ended up spanking them 4-1, with a teenage Theo Walcott sliding in his hat-trick goal in 82 minutes. Can you imagine the hype train he was riding back then? If only the media had known that by the age of 30, he'd be washed up in the Everton bench. Leicester, Jamie Vardy versus Germany 2016. Okay, yes, Jamie Vardy has scored a lot of famous goals, but you know what, I'm gonna go for this one back in March 2016. I know it was only a friendly, but still, after 57 minutes, England have found themselves 2-0 down against Germany. Then Harry Kane drags one back. The in-form Jamie Vardy enters the fray in 71 minutes before back-heeling in his first England goal 3 minutes later. England ended up winning this game, beating the world champions of their own turf, with former non-league lads even getting on the score sheet. The media then used this moment to drum up heightened, unrealistic expectations ahead of the Euros, which made it all the more delicious when they got dumped out by Iceland. Liverpool, Origi versus Barcelona 2019. Yeah, this is going to live on as one of the most famous Champions League goals of all time. Go back to early May 2019. Liverpool had just been slapped down 3-0 by Barcelona at the Nou Camp. It looked like their season was falling apart at the seams. And then the Anfield comeback. Liverpool shoot into a 3-0 lead, incredibly levelling the aggregate, before on 79 minutes, Trent Alexander-Arnold catches the entire shell-shocked Barcelona defence, still dizzy from trying to mark Jorginho Wijnaldum, out with a cheekily quick-taken corner. Divock Origi reacts quickest, well, he was the only one to react at all, to stick the hosts 4-0 up and put them into the Champions League final. If any of you were at this game at Anfield, please let me know what the atmosphere was like. It probably rocked the entire city. Man City, Sergio Aguero versus QPR 2012. Arguably the most famous goal on the list. May 2012, Man City knew they needed to beat QPR to claim their first ever Premier League title, and they were somehow losing 2-1 at home in the 89th minute. Took 10 men as well. Then Edin Dzeko levels the scores, City pile forward in search of a historic goal, then Sergio Aguero works the ball to Mario Balotelli, who returns it, allowing the Argentine to smash past Paddy Kenny and deprive Man United of the title. Absolutely insane. Man United, Anthony Martial versus Liverpool 2015. I should probably go with Paul Pogba's last finish against Croatia in the 2018 World Cup, but considering that was only one of 6 goals in that final, does it really stand out? Is it iconic? I'd imagine when people think of that game, they just remember Kylian Mbappe. Instead, I'll go for Anthony Martial's first goal for Man United, smashing home the third in a 3-1 home win over Liverpool back in September 2015. This was back when the media were salivating over this man like a home-cooked steak. Not only had they just signed for Monaco for a potential £57 million, despite the likes of Wayne Rooney never having heard of him, he was suddenly being tipped for future Ballon d'Ors. So when he capped his debut with this stunning strike, Martin Tyler almost broke his voice box. Newcastle, Danny Rose versus Arsenal 2010. No contest for this one. Go back to April 2010. And a teenage Danny Rose, making his debut for Spurs, slams home a 30-yard volley past Manuel Amuna into the Arsenal net. Spurs were going to win this North London derby, boosting their Champions League hopes. So yeah, this goal has gone down as Spurs folklore forevermore. Norwich, Grant Hanley versus Man United 2011. To be honest, there aren't many famous goal scorers in the Norwich squad. Maybe I'll go back to December 2011. Sir Alex Ferguson was forced to spend his birthday watching United lose 3-2 at home to bottom place Blackburn. One of the goals was from a youthful Grant Hanley. I'd say this was quite famous, not only for the fact that it gave Steve Keane an iconic win, but more so because it was almost the final nail in David De Gea's Man United coffin. The lad is so lucky he managed to recover from this. Sheffield United, Phil Jagielka versus Liverpool 2014. Again, no contest here. Go back to September 2014. Everton are losing 1-0 at Anfield. It's deep into injury time, and then Phil Jagielka steps up to smash home a 30-yard volley right into Simon Mignolet's top right-hand corner. One of the greatest Derby Day moments in Premier League history. Southampton, Shea Long versus Germany 2015. Again, like Robbie Keane, this was an iconic goal for every Irishman alive on the planet. It's October 2015. Ireland welcome world champions Germany to Dublin for a Euro 2016 qualification game. The last time Germany had visited the stadium, they stuffed 6 past our defence. Not this time. 70th minute, Darren Randolph launches a Route 1 long ball down the pitch. Shane Long races onto it before firing home the only goal of the game against Manuel Neuer. Famous win, absolutely incredible scenes. Tottenham, Lucas Moura versus Ajax 2019. I mean, what other goal was I ever going to pick? This should arguably have come with a statue. Last minute of a Champions League second leg semi-final against Ajax. Lucas Moura had already bagged 2 goals to level the scores on the night. But considering Ajax had won the first leg 1-0, Spurs were still going out. And then the Brazilian caps an amazing Roy of the Rovers performance with a last minute third to shock the Dutch and send Spurs, yes, Spurs, into their first ever Champions League final. What? Watford, Troy Deeney versus Leicester 2013. This was one of the most incredible moments in the history of English football. It's May 2013, the second leg of a championship playoff semi-final between Watford and Leicester. Anthony Knockaert steps up to take a last-minute penalty that would send Leicester through to the final. Instead, Manuel Amuna saves. Watford go directly down the pitch, with Troy Deeney thumping home a thunderous volley 10 seconds later to put the Hornets into the final. Insane. West Ham, Winston Reid versus Man United 2016. This was just a perfect send-off. Against Man United in May 2016, Mikel Antonio had just leveled the scores up at 2-2 before Winston Reid rises like a salmon to smash home an 80th minute winner. What a perfect way to say goodbye to an iconic stadium. Wolves, João Moutinho versus Denmark 2015. Again, let's return to October 2015. On the same night Shane Long was battering that win against the Germans, João Moutinho was scoring the only goal of the game against Denmark as Portugal secured qualification for Euro 2020. Anyway, that's the end of it, lads. Let me know, what do you think? What player do you think scored the most famous goal? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.